Hey there. So, I'm gonna try and not be depressing, but nonetheless, the only things that I'm really interested in are things fall apart, right? And I have this paper in front of me. It's from the Public Safety Library. It was published in 2018 by Maria Antonella Mancino. So it's a PhD. This is her thesis. Anyways, the title of this paper is called it's Essays on Crime, Education, and Employment. Now I'm going to read through this, but I know this for sure, that most people don't want to be criminals. So I'll read a bit of this. I think we'll just keep it to 5 minutes. We'll put this in history propaganda. Anyway, so our summary for 5 minutes. Her thesis consists of 3 chapters that are motivated by policy relevance and contribute to the study of crime choices among young individuals. Chapter 2 studies the determinants of youth crime using a dynamic, discrete choice model of crime and education. We allow past education and criminal activities to affect current crime and educational decisions. We take advantage of a rich panel data set on serious juvenile offenders, the pathways to desistance. I don't understand that. I'll have to look that up. Using a serial of psychometric tests. We estimate a model of cognitive and social emotional skills which feed into the crime and education model. This allows us to separately identify the roles of state dependence, returns to experience, and heterogeneity in driving crime and enrollment decisions among youth. We find small effects of experience and stronger evidence of state dependence and heterogeneity for crime and schooling. We provide evidence that, as a consequence, policies that affect individuals, example, social and emotional skills, and those that temporarily keep youth away from crime, can have important and lasting effects, even if criminal experience has already been accumulated. Chapter 3 documents empirical facts about the criminal and legal labor sector for disadvantaged young individuals and investigates the factors driving the transitions between sectors. I focus on the role, so the author, of heterogeneity, earnings, human capital, criminal capital, and determining transitions across the criminal and legal labor sectors. The data I employ comes from pathways to desistance study. Desistance. It's such an interesting word. I find that disadvantaged young individuals face 2 low-quality employment alternatives. On one hand, jobs in the legal labor sector are characterized by short average duration and low wages. I experienced this as contractor, the gig economy, the job insecurity, and then food insecurity, which is happened to me right now. Again, I don't want to be here. I really don't. In this room, in this hospital. But at least I don't have to worry about my meals or the people that get me angry and their ineptitudes of dealing with their own emotions and their own shit. My situation could have gone a lot worse. And, when there's no accountability and when we don't want to face the truth of our past decisions, because we can't run from who we are, right? I can't run from the things that I've done, and I don't want to. I just want better relationships, And in facing the Leviathan that is the post-internet epoch, and this dopamine burnout, which is causing so many people to have long-term effects on their mental health. It's a problem not faced before, as indicated by CAHM's statement on the website, which it's a crisis, and that most people don't even seek help. And I'll state this for the record. I didn't want to be here. I'm not here on my own will. I have a meeting tomorrow with a social worker and with the psychiatrist for a second time. But my life is out there. It's out there. I have so much more to do with my life. I just hate having to beat people over the head, so to speak, verbally, and having to I have to compete with this this machine, this media machine that suppresses so many creative and independent voices, and that is truly demoralizing. Why do people? If I'm going to add to this intro, why do people commit crime? It's for attention. It's the same reason why people commit suicide. A lot of times is for attention or revenge. As I detailed in the suicide is cancer. Helplessness, not having any alternatives, etc.
No, I'm not. I'm just going back to my living room.
Just heads up, I'm recording. Okay, so activity in the criminal sector presents similar features as legal jobs, as it offers an earning premium relative to the legal labor sector, which partially compensates for the inherent risk of the activity. The author provides evidence that earnings in the criminal and legal labor sectors play a significant role on the transitions across sectors, so in between legal and illegal activities. This implies that choices in the criminal and legal labor sectors are strongly related, and as a result, they should not be studied in isolation of each other, which is, a holistic approach, is I definitely agree with here. Because it's the insecurity that drives people to to breakdowns. It's just, this is well understood. It's associated with homelessness and other lacks of social supports, or support networks, lack of community, isolation, so on and so forth. It's like living in the Soviet Union. The people that were in the Soviet Union came here to escape it, or thereafter, or the economic disparity, or the desert of possibilities, with few options for fertility or fruitful lives, right? Just trying to push factors. The labor market for this population group is usually studied ignoring the presence of the criminal sector, and yet a large share of them participate in crime. To study these outcomes jointly and explore how they relate, I built and estimated a two-sector search model allowing for a rich set of interactions between the two sectors. So she's using statistical models and data she previously mentioned in order to reach a conclusion here. So obviously it's fact and data based, in order to have some cross-examination of the culture. The criminal sector provides an attractive alternative to the legal labor sector, offering an earnings premium. That's a freebie. So what can I say? We celebrate criminals and rebels and misfits. They become heroes in our own time, right? And say like Robin Hood, and that whole scenario that happened in 2020, 2019, with, the GameStop thing too, these upheavals and the changes in revolution that, challenge the very foundation of the justice system. And herein lies, the propaganda that I have to talk about, of course, to relate it to this entire video project. Saying, because I'm doing this to support the possibility of my own thesis, having to do with the fall of civilizations and the propaganda, the art, in a capacity that I haven't seen someone else do yet. And for me to complete this and to write a thesis would be a crowning achievement. Because now, what's the phrase? It's criminal to care, right? What's also criminal is ignorance. And there's such highs and lows associated with being a creative and intellectual person. And everyone wants to assume and see what they want to see out of you, instead of listening and using their eyes without filters. What could the filters be? The preconceived notions, previous experiences, previous behaviors of the person that you're judging, and so on and so forth, or that you're trying to assess. There's always something more. There's emotional elements, as they're saying, emotional and intellectual, mental health capacities or incapacities. I've been reading the mental health code at times here, trying to, because I learned by doing, right? And I learned so much by doing. But sometimes the motivation is boredom. It's not bad to be bored, but some people choose crime instead of self-improvement. Nevertheless, crime brings a higher probability of incarceration and fewer opportunities in the legal labor sector. I find that there are sizable interactions across sectors, and that the policies in one sector can have important effects on the other sector. So, again, the justice scales, or what else can I say? Because it starts with young people. There's a definite, again, because if you're going to think about Love Part 2 with Bits and Bytes, where I recap the occurrences and frequencies within a certain demographic of people. So especially young women that have to deal with mood disorders and are the most sensitive and vulnerable targets to crime. So there's only one solution, and it's education. But education of the willing, with open ears and open eyes and closed mouths. Anyways, I'll come back to this, and we're at 15 minutes now. And thanks for watching. I'll make this be History of Propaganda, of course, Volume 4. Just call it crime. Just call it crime. That's it. We'll see you for the next one.